Hi, Joseph.
Yeah, you got to make your own label.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello.
We could switch name tags. You could be me, and I could be you for a day.
Oh, I'd have to have the hat too, though.
Think anybody would notice? You can have the hat.
I'm Joseph.
I want my hat back. So the thing about love is,
You will start to label your partner.
and labels aren't necessarily a good or a bad thing, but they can be a powerful thing.
Labels and words in general can be very powerful when they're spoken over someone.
So what's a label you feel like you take on for yourself, as an example?
Ooh. I'm an introvert.
I sometimes think of myself as being artsy or creative, which sometimes sounds really positive, but for me, sometimes it just means that I overthink things and that everything for me is a bigger deal than for normal people.
Another label that I've put on myself is I'm like a backstage person.
You just feel like you're a behind the scenes
I'm a
sort of thing.
behind the scenes sort of person, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't mind.
I think you could be on a stage.
I probably could. I put that label on myself.
Yeah.
I'm also indecisive. That's a label that I've put on myself.
Are you sure that you're indecisive? Yeah, so when you're in a relationship with someone and as you get to know a person, you start using labels, whether you say them out loud or you just have them in your head. And labels can be useful for categorizing people. Sometimes a person gives you a label for themselves. But it's important to be aware of the power that labels have, because sometimes when you put a label on a person, whether that label is true or not, if they start to adopt that label themselves, then it'll alter their behavior over time. And if that label that you gave them is something which is derogatory or negative, sometimes if they start believing that label, they'll start conforming to it because they think that's who they are.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to stay that way, right? If you feel like maybe I've put on a bad label on somebody, the great thing is you also have the power to put on something great.
But we want to encourage you to do something with labels. Apply labels with the intent to empower the other person in that relationship. Sometimes labels can actually act as a way to box you in. So you feel like, oh, I'm an introvert, therefore I
don't have to go out with a lot of other people. It's just expected that I'm gonna stay in my little bubble.
You limit yourself because of the label that maybe you put on yourself or maybe someone else told you that was who you were.
And if he put the label introvert on me and maybe I didn't feel that initially, maybe he would change the interactions that he planned for us, thinking, oh, she's an introvert, so she's not going to want to go do this.
Oh, I've done that. Yeah. Oh, we plan dates for each other, and sometimes because of the labels I have in my head as to the sort of person she is, I stress about the dates. I don't want to pick something that's going to take her out of her comfort zone or, go against her labels, so to speak. But the truth is sometimes I'm limiting her based on that label when she wouldn't have minded trying that.
Because I like new adventures and hard things, and I like them more when I'm doing it with him because I kind of fall back on him or help me through this. This is difficult, but I might not have tried it on my own.
So there's a power there in saying, even though someone else has called you this, and maybe that thing is not very empowering, maybe there's some truth to it. You know what I'm gonna do is use labels to empower you. In your case, I might say, I think that you would be great on stage. I think you could be a leader from the stage.
That's a good one.
It's really impressive to have someone tell you you can be a thing that maybe no one ever told you you could be before. And it's not about trying to deceive people and call them something they're not, or trying to get someone to conform to who you want them to be with that label. It's a matter of seeing the potential in that person and using the label as a way of elevating them towards what they could be and what they have the power to be that maybe they can't even see themselves.
The biggest benefit you have of being around a partner long term is you get to see those little bitty things that end up adding to such great potential. And you're like, hey, I see this, and that's gonna make something amazing.
Have you ever had someone use a label on you that discouraged you and stuck with you? Maybe when you were a kid or you got picked on or something and somebody spoke something over you that just stuck with you?
I used to get picked on by someone, I'm not gonna say who.
Because they could be watching.
They could be watching.
Probably not.
But they would say like, you are so ugly.
What?
Yeah.
How old were you?
Probably around 8 to 10.
Man, that's terrible.
Yeah. And so I took that around for the longest time that I was ugly.
Was it a guy or a girl?
A girl.
Another girl.
Another girl.
Mean girls. Wow. Yeah, so that stuck in your head.
Stuck in my head, yeah. What about you?
Was it something that they said a lot or just once?
Probably a couple of times. But I think all it takes is really once to get in there.
Yeah, and then it's in your head. Yeah.
Yeah. What is a positive label that got put on you?
Well, I remember being asked to lead when I was in my teen years and feeling like I'm not a people person, I'm not a leader, and just saying no. And then having a friend tell me, I think you'd be good at doing that. I think you should try it. You might like it. And I remember going home and thinking, I don't see in me what this friend sees in me, but apparently they think I might be good at it. And I ended up saying yes to that opportunity in the long run, and I ended up leading a lot of things from then on. And I don't know if it was just that one friend that encouraged me, but I think having people around you that see something in you that you don't see in yourself and are willing to apply that label in love to you really empowers you to feel like maybe I am that person they see me as. It's powerful, and it can be something that that person carries with them for a long time. So when you choose to apply a negative label in someone's life, it may be offhanded on your side. But like you were saying, it might be something that somebody told you when you were a kid and you've been carrying this label with you all your life. Be careful what you tell people they are.
You can label yourself, somebody else can label you. But if somebody else tries to label you and you don't believe that label and you say, that's not me, you need to own that and say, this is not my label. I'm not going to allow this to define me.
Just because someone tells you you're ugly doesn't mean that's something that you have to allow them to dictate for your life. Yeah.
Absolutely. You can own your labels.
Because labels in the end, they're not necessarily truths about us. They're just helpful ways of categorizing things. So sometimes when we're given a label, it doesn't perfectly fit us because we're learning, we're growing, we're evolving. And as a kid, I wasn't good at speaking to people. And if you'd told me one day I'd be talking to a camera, it would have terrified me.
Yes.
But I've changed. And so the labels that fit me when I was 12 don't fit me now.
Absolutely. I was thinking about labels changing. I was thinking about when we first got married, I had a lot of foot problems and I could not do very athletic stuff. And through the years, both Joseph and I think, had put the label on me that I am not athletic. I'm not going to be doing anything that's athletic. And it got to a point where I was then able to be athletic. I worked on myself. Like I ran a 5K.
Which was super awesome, but also was like way out of context for what I, as her partner, imagined of her.
And I imagined of myself. That was just the weirdest thing ever because I didn't think I'd ever be able to do that. And I had to start trying to reimagine, what is that label now? Am I athletic? Am I not athletic? Or, you know, and I think I've come to the conclusion maybe I'm about average.
I'm going to have to rethink some of the labels I put on my partner here because I put those labels on her to keep her safe. I put labels on her that said, well, she's got pain in her feet and she's had medical problems and multiple surgeries. She shouldn't be doing X, Y, Z. But she wanted to be able to do more than what that label was allowing. And so I had to be willing as her partner to see what she was trying to accomplish and say, no, we can change that label. Like, you want to run a 5K, you should run a 5K. I'll support you all the way, and we'll call you a runner.
Yeah.
Here's a new label.
A new label.
Which, would you still label yourself as a runner?
I would not.
You did that. She did run a 5K.
I did it. I ran a 5K, but it was not something I think I wanted to take long term.
Labels are something that can be very useful, but make sure that the labels you're using, you're doing it intentionally and you're doing it to lift up and empower that other person. See how you can use labels to convey love. How can you love someone through the labels that you give them and really help them go to the next level in their own life?
And what are some labels that you've put on yourself? Whether they're powerful ones that are positive or negative, maybe put them below and talk through it with us. What is something that you would like to change? A label that you put on yourself that you're like, I don't want this label on me. Or what is a label you see in your partner? Put it below and brag about your partner, because how awesome is that?
And I know some of you are thinking now, what if you have a label that does seem permanent? What if you have a label that relates to a medical diagnosis? You know, something that happened to you in your childhood that you can't undo. I would say just be careful how you see that label. I remember seeing a poster at a school that I went to that said autism equals like awesome or something. And I thought, you know, it's so nice when you are young and you are told that you are a way that you can't change, to be told that this way will affect your life. Yes. But it also gives you unique potential and experience that no one else is going to have.
You just took my label.
Yes, you can have mine.
I'm Joseph now.
I look better.
That's a label. You are sweet.
Ah, well, you were pretty.
Aww.
It's a label. So this is a little behind the scenes. I'm actually standing here waiting for Bethany to get dressed, I guess. I don't know. I thought she looked fine, but she's apparently putting on something else.
You bought me this shirt.
Oh yeah, I did. I forgot about that.
Yay.
Christmas.
Yeah.
Hey, I like shopping for clothes for her.
I like when he shops for clothes for me.